I'm Dr. Lucinda Mosier. I work as a consultant, educator, and author in the arena of interreligious relations. And my question is, what does faith in the neighborhood mean to you? I have a book series called Faith in the Neighborhood. It's published by Seabury Books. We're working on Volume 4 right now. Volume 1 was called Belonging, Volume 2, Praying, Volume 3, Loss, Volume 4 will be Family Matters. What, what are the kinds of questions about other people's religions that come up at work over the water cooler, over the backyard fence? So we're trying to recreate a natural conversation among neighbors about the religious differences that we're encountering more and more. My hope is that that will satisfy curiosity, allay concern, provoke a little bit more interest and delight in difference. Having this book series as an ongoing project for a number of years now, I can't remember which year we started it, but it might have been around 2002, 2003. Having this project in the background as an educator has been wonderful because I get to interview the most delightful people. Most of my interviewing for this series is done on the phone. Some of it's done in conversation circles, but because there's no travel budget attached to this project, the phone is the principal medium. So I've called up people all around the country asking them questions about this book, and they tell me stories, and those stories inform my lectures when I'm teaching a course on America's religious diversity, which I do in a university setting in Michigan as we have something called the Worldviews Seminar that happens every June at the University of Michigan, Dearborn. It's a crash course in America's diversity, and to have all of these real-life stories to use as examples for the concepts that I would be teaching anyway makes it just so much more real. I think that when I first came to interreligious work, I came to it as a fairly conservative Christian, theologically and in terms of practice. What brought me then to the interreligious work? Because given a fairly conservative point of view, one might feel quite off-put by deep religious commitments that are quite different from one's own. And I think it was the justice issues that drew me in, the painting of people with a very broad brush, especially during the first Gulf War. Some of the media portrayals of Muslims, I didn't know any Muslims, or at least I didn't know that I knew any Muslims, but somehow it didn't sound right to me to paint a whole people with a very broad brush. And so I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to hang on to my religious commitments as I learned more. And so I found a way to do that. And so, yes, I think my religious outlook has changed in that I'm very much more open to the great variety of religious expression that I find in the United States now. I want to learn more about it, but I also want to help people understand that just as I want to hold on to my religious commitments, so do these folks want to hold on to theirs. And somehow it is, as a practicing Christian, my obligation to do that. And I have found theological ways to frame that. One is the 9th commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. How can you bear truthful witness about your neighbor if you know nothing about your neighbor's beliefs and practices? And I'm an Episcopalian, and so we have this thing called the baptismal covenant that we recite, reaffirm many times during the year. And one of the questions that we are asked to answer in the affirmative is, will you seek and serve the face of Christ in every human person? Well, how can you do that and disdain what brings them joy and what helps them draw nearer and nearer to the ineffable? So I think I've remained very solidly in the Christian camp I found in which I was when I began really deep, serious interfaith work. But I think my sense of God's mystery and economy is much broader now. My advice to young people concerning interreligious work is that I hope that you'll join people like me in it. I think there's lots to be done. I find that my students and interns who are in their 20s approach this work with a lot of enthusiasm and energy, and often with much less reluctance to cross boundaries than I might have felt. Again, there are many valid approaches. We definitely need more people doing this work, so join the party.